Beyond its global renown as one of London's defining landmarks alongside Big Ben and Westminster Abbey, London Bridge stands as a symbol of strength and elegance, welcoming the world with its timeless architecture. Yet, under its towering structure lies a somber reality, a shadowed existence of individuals who have been forgotten by a city that moves relentlessly forward. In England, the homeless population is collectively referred to as rough sleepers, a term that vividly illustrates their plight. It describes individuals sleeping outdoors or in places unfit for habitation, cars, doorways, or abandoned buildings. Among the most visible facets of homelessness, rough sleeping is a grim reminder of social disparities. Surprisingly, these individuals are not migrants or refugees from distant lands. They are British citizens, men, women, and, increasingly, the youth of England. Many are young adults, aged 16 to 24, often physically capable and seemingly strong. Yet, despite their vigor, they find themselves confined to the streets. The pressing question remains, why are so many of them forced into such dire circumstances? Research by Shelter, a leading homelessness charity in the United Kingdom, paints a sobering picture. Approximately 309,000 people are currently categorized as homeless across England, with a staggering 123,000 of them being young people. This marks a sharp 74% increase over the past decade. For instance, in 2019 alone, over 280,000 people experienced homelessness, many living in temporary accommodations. This overall surge in homelessness correlates with a rise in rough sleeping. Although rough sleepers represent a fraction of the total homeless population, their numbers are growing alarmingly. According to estimates by Heriot-Watt University in Scotland, over 12,300 people are believed to be sleeping rough. They often seek shelter in unused warehouses, dumpsters, cars, tents, and minivans, locations concentrated in certain hotspots. Unsurprisingly, London remains at the epicenter of this crisis. The Combined Homeless and Information Network reported that between April 2022 and June 2023, more than 10,000 individuals were seen sleeping on the streets of the capital. This figure represents a 25% increase from the previous count, but even this number may understate the scale of the problem, as it excludes those staying temporarily with friends or family. Despite living in the world's sixth largest economy, many people in the United Kingdom continue to struggle without a place to call home. In London, homelessness is most acute in Westminster, Newham, and Haringey, areas long associated with low-income households and a severe lack of affordable housing. However, the homelessness crisis in London is just one piece of a larger, more complex issue that extends across England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. In various parts of London, tents stand out like misplaced objects, nestled awkwardly between commercial buildings, offices, and shops, amidst the constant movement of cars and pedestrians. For many homeless individuals, these tents are their only refuge. Others, less fortunate, don't even have that luxury, seeking shelter instead in public spaces such as sidewalks, parks, bus stops, beneath bridges, and in the recesses of urban infrastructure. The homeless population in London reflects a wide range of backgrounds and circumstances. Yet, they all find themselves on the streets, often relying on charitable aid, whether from government programs or nonprofit organizations. Some take on precarious jobs to survive, while others resort to begging. The line between being homeless and being a beggar isn't always clear. Some individuals who live on the streets are employed but cannot afford housing due to insufficient wages. Beyond London, Homelessness in the UK is concentrated in several key regions, particularly in South England and Northeast England. As of September 2023, South England was home to an estimated 24,140 homeless individuals, including rough sleepers and those in temporary shelters. Many of the areas with the highest homelessness rates are coastal cities along the southern shores, known for their milder climate and frequent tourist activity. But does the presence of homelessness deter tourists? Surprisingly, not always. In fact, many homeless individuals in South England find ways to earn during the winter months by assisting visitors. Brighton, for instance, has gained a reputation as one of the most welcoming cities for the homeless community, offering opportunities for them to work in various capacities while maintaining its appeal to tourists. The Northeast faces the second worst homelessness crisis in the UK. As of 2023, the region had approximately 4,250 homeless individuals, including over 300 children and teenagers. Around 29% of homeless households live in temporary accommodations, with 19% of homes deemed uninhabitable. This area now holds the dubious distinction of having the highest proportion of homeless households in the UK, with the numbers rising significantly in recent years. Homelessness in the United Kingdom has reached a steep and troubling juncture. The issue is no longer just the increasing numbers, but also the accuracy of the data recorded by organizations attempting to measure it. What does this mean? Put simply, the current figures significantly underrepresent the reality. Many individuals experiencing homelessness, those temporarily staying with friends or family, are often overlooked, making their struggles invisible to official counts. Sleeping on the streets is the visible face of homelessness, but most of the crisis remains hidden. According to government data, over 96,000 people are living in temporary accommodations classified as hidden homeless, far from public view. Many of these individuals move from one couch to another, shuttling between different homes without any sense of permanence. Even with a roof over their heads and a soft place to sleep, those in temporary accommodations are still homeless. They remain vulnerable, grappling with insecurity and the lack of access to safe, stable, and permanent housing. Their condition underscores the fragility of their situation, caught in limbo between survival and stability. There is rarely a single reason that drives people out of their homes and into years of precarious living. Instead, homelessness in the UK arises from a combination of overlapping factors. Soaring housing costs make it impossible for many to secure a stable residence, while wage cuts leave families unable to afford even the basics. Domestic violence forces some individuals to flee unsafe environments, while mental health issues, such as anxiety and depression, prevent others from maintaining the stability needed to hold on to housing. Together, these factors weave a complex web that traps people in homelessness and makes escape extraordinarily difficult. This complexity creates profound social and economic consequences. On a social level, homelessness exacerbates isolation, worsens mental health, and creates significant barriers to employment and education. For those affected, the constant uncertainty of their situation leads to a steep decline in quality of life, perpetuating a cycle of despair. Economically, the cost of homelessness is equally stark. It strains government spending, increasing the need for healthcare services, welfare support, and other public resources, while productivity losses due to unemployment deepen the financial toll. Homelessness not only reflects poverty, but also fuels it, reinforcing cycles of deprivation and social exclusion that are difficult to break. The escalating homelessness crisis in the United Kingdom is a glaring indication that current efforts to address the issue are falling short. Matt Downey, CEO of the homelessness charity Crisis, emphasized that the rising numbers of homeless individuals each year serve as further proof of the ineffectiveness of existing strategies. While the government is not idle in its response, the results so far suggest that much more needs to be done. The Labour Party, for instance, has pledged to build 1.5 million homes, prioritizing social rental properties as a way to tackle the housing shortage. Meanwhile, Housing Minister Angela Rayner is set to lead a cross-government task force dedicated to addressing homelessness. Scotland has gone as far as declaring a housing emergency, and Wales has focused its resources on expanding social housing to alleviate its regional crisis. However, as Downey notes, homelessness is a deeply complex problem, and there is no universal solution that fits every individual's situation. Solving homelessness requires more than temporary solutions or policy pledges. It demands a comprehensive effort to address the root causes that push individuals into homelessness in the first place. From unaffordable housing and insufficient welfare support to mental health challenges and domestic instability, these systemic issues must be tackled to break the cycle of homelessness. Equally important is providing support for those already affected, including care for the trauma and mental burdens that accompany life without a home. The path to recovery often involves tailored interventions that acknowledge the unique challenges faced by individuals and families, as well as sufficient political will to allocate resources where they will have the greatest impact. Experts, charities, and advocacy groups have proposed transformative changes to address the structural factors that perpetuate homelessness. These include preventing evictions, ensuring that welfare benefits keep pace with inflation, and expanding access to affordable housing. One of the most promising approaches is the Housing First model, which prioritizes providing permanent housing with no prerequisites, allowing individuals to regain stability before addressing other issues such as employment or substance abuse.